everyone, welcome to Lisa's Painting Parties. It's Thursday and we're going to be starting our live free painting session in about 5-10 minutes, and I'm really excited to do this one today. I'm a little nervous about it as well, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of elements in here that kind of freak me out, so I'm excited to do this all with you and we'll see how it all goes, but I really think this is an interesting image and I'm excited to see what comes out of it. Today is a paint from photo party. So our photo is from Mike Lyons. He's a photographer out of Burlington, Ontario, and he graciously allows me to pick beautiful photos that he's taken and share them with all of you and let us paint them on our painting party, which is fantastic. So thank you so much to Mike Lyons. This is the image that we're going to be doing tonight, or this afternoon, or today. I should say today because a lot of people are coming and tuning in from a bunch of different time zones. So let's just say we're doing this today. So definitely a little bit different than some of the other ones that I've painted previously. There are some elements that I love still, obviously having the landscape in the background. So I'm excited about having the sky and having the trees and having all that come through. And doing all the wood, I think, is going to be really interesting. So I'm looking forward to doing kind of this mix of this natural beauty and then more of the structure and then these very like structured, delicate pieces in the front. So I think this is going to be really fun to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through it step by step and let you know how I'm going to be going about recreating this. For anyone who hasn't joined me before, or even for those who have, just as a reminder, the way I go about do my painting parties is that this is our reference. So it's kind of like almost like a book club. So we all have the same book reference that we're working on, but you can interpret this in any which way you so desire. So if you want to use a totally different medium, if you want to use pencils and or watercolor or pastels, go nuts and do whatever you want to do. If you want to join me, I'm going to be using acrylics and I'll talk it through in a very basic and simplify it down. So if you're a beginner, don't be scared. We'll figure it out and we'll go through it step by step. And I sometimes do make modifications depending how the mood strikes, so I might do that as well, but I'll talk through what kind of things I do just for fun, and you can take a look and watch, and if you like it, cool, you can follow. If you don't, you can do your own too. It's totally fine. Also, this video stays up, so if you are watching and you can't paint right now, but you really want to try this, don't worry. You can watch this on my YouTube channel. I repost these live videos on there under Lisa's Painting Parties, or you can watch it on my Facebook page under Lisa's Painting Parties as well. All the videos stay up there as a tab called videos, so you can just grab it from there and watch whenever you want. So yeah, so that's all that, and all these are free. So there's many. So if you are digging the style, you can join me live every Thursday at 6. I keep saying 7. I feel like I should be making them at 7, 7 Eastern Standard Time, I should say, because every time I've been talking about my parties lately, my mouth wants to say that, and I'm like, maybe I should be moving it a bit later. I do feel a little constricted in terms of like finishing work and like starting, so I might shuffle it maybe in May. I mean in June. We'll see how it goes. But anywho, that we'll cross that bridge later. Um, so yeah, so all the different videos are there. So if you like my style, feel free to check it out and please share and like the page and follow if you are enjoying it, obviously, because that's great for me. If you want to support me, there's links there that you can buy me a coffee or send me a tip. It's not mandatory at all, obviously. Obviously appreciated. And alternately, if you'd like me to host your own painting party, I can do virtual sessions with you. Or if you're in the Toronto or Greater Toronto area, reach out to me and I can do an in-person party with you as well. All the information's there and the link to my website is there too with the rates and contact detail. You can DM me, whatever works for you. Okay, so that's the little spiel of all that. And we'll get started very shortly. I'm going to go through my list of what items I'm going to be using today, supplies I'm going to be using. And then I'll go through kind of like our first step and break down this process before we get to painting. Lots of talking before we paint. So make sure you have something to drink, some water, whatever you need, because this will probably, I'm anticipating this to take us like definitely the 2 hours this week. Last week's painting session was quite quick. It was just over an hour, but this one's definitely going to take us 2 hours, if not more. So be ready for that. But again, if it goes too long, you can always watch the recording afterwards too. So don't feel stressed out about that either. Okay. Great. So I'm coming to you from Ajax, Ontario, in Canada, just outside of Toronto. If you want to let me know where you're tuning in from, obviously I love to see that. It's always fun to see where everyone's like watching from all over the place. One thing I've been noticing though, in the comments, there's been some people going around and like asking to be friends with a lot of you, and it's like the same name or like similar profiles. So I just wanted to call that out because I think that's sketchy vibes. I don't think it's actually like real people trying to be friends. And I'm not sure that's happening with other live sites, but I've noticed that we used to get like a lot of like scammy links that people would come on and like try to get you to click or pay to watch this live that I'm literally doing for free right now that you can see. And that would happen a lot during my lives, but that hasn't happened for a while. And so I'm thinking they're using different tactics to be sketchy. So I just wanted to do like a little public service announcement just to make sure that if you get anyone that is like, oh, like I really like this, like be my friend, just be cautious. And I don't trust it. Like I feel like they're going to be sketchy. If there's going to be friends and talk and stuff, that's cool, but just please be cautious because there's so many sketchy people who give sob stories and ask for money and do all this weird stuff. And so please, 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 please don't fall for any of that stuff. Please don't. So just watch for that because I saw that happen a little bit last week and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. Okay, cool. Let's see and let's say hi to everyone. Oh my goodness, I love all the comments already. Thanks, everyone. All right, so there's Kathy with a K, and my cousin Kathy with a C. Hi, Kathy. And then we have Diane. Awesome. I love painting from a photo. I find I find it really interesting and it's challenging as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend that. Like you can even go onto like Shutterstock or there's some other places that have like a bunch of photos essentially that people have taken, and then you can either purchase the rights to the photos or some of them have like free places that you can find images, and there's some really nice things that I love painting from. So that's a really good resource I find. I try to be really conscious of not wanting to copy other people's styles. When I first started the painting parties, I would just find images that I liked online and then I would ask the community to be like, hey, which one do you guys want us to paint? But that's stealing other people's art, and that was never something that I was intending to do. But I ended up doing that without realizing it. And so I was like, okay, like I clued in that that wasn't cool. I went more to a photo way, or I tried to just do my own. But creating my own art, considering I have a full time job, becomes tricky. So that's why I'm really, really happy that I have that. If any of you are photographers and if you have any great photos and you would like to paint that or you want to be featured or you want to connect with me, that's another thing too. You can feel free to reach out and say, hey, I have a bunch of photos, like do you want to paint my photos? That would be cool too, and I would love to pump up your business or your hobby or whatever you're looking for too, so feel free to reach out and let me know. I don't have Venmo. I don't know if it's actually, I have to look into it. I don't know if it's available in Canada because in here no one really uses it because we just do like direct bank transfers in Canada. That's like the most common way of like transferring money between us. So I don't think so. I think I looked into it before, and I think Venmo I wasn't able to set that up, but maybe I'm wrong. So I just have PayPal right now, and I have the Buy Me a Coffee, and if you're in Canada, there's like email transfers as well. Central Texas, that's so awesome. I'm so glad that you're here. Michelle, hello. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Sally. Yeah, it definitely looks hard. So what I want to say too, in terms of how this looks, like I said, I'm also a little freaked out by it, but I'm going to take my own advice, which is don't think of it as the image that you see. So instead of looking at it and being like, okay, it's a log cabin and all these things, just try to look at it as shapes and colors and tones. Try to eliminate what your brain is telling you what it is and just look at it for the lines and the shapes and the colors. And then we're going to try to recreate with that. And that I find helps me way more. If I really try to focus on it being what I think it's supposed to be, I'm never happy with it. So let's try to like let go of that and try to go that route. And hopefully that works. Tennessee, hi Kay. And Lindsay in Belleville, awesome. Almost a neighbor, still a little bit further, but all good. David, hi David, I'm glad you're joining again. Awesome, awesome. Oh, great call, Diane. Thanks for that tip. Diane just said like if you look at people's profiles that try to like friend you, sometimes they'll have like no friends and it'll be like, or it'll be like a new profile, or really empty in the profile, and that's like just tips to see like just like scammy and bots and all of that. So don't do it. Um, and Kim from Riverside, awesome, awesome, perfect. Okay, great, awesome. Okay, so it's just after 6. Let me go through what the supplies that I'm going to be using tonight are, which is always the same supplies as I always use, but I'll run through it. Um, in terms of supplies, again, like this is what I'm using for tonight's session, but again, you can use whatever you so desire and whatever you like. I'm not saying that this is the best thing to use. It's not. There's many other way better products out there. I often use things that are very cost effective or cheap, I suppose. And that's kind of where I go with things, but there are definitely better quality items out there. Um, Today, I'm actually using an actual canvas today. As anyone who joins me before knows, I usually use a canvas board, but today I was feeling a little spicy and I thought, okay, I'm going to whip out an actual full-on stretched canvas. This one's a 12 by 16. So I'm excited to paint on that. I do prefer to paint on stretched canvas. I find the quality is usually better. But I often use a canvas board just for space concerns. In terms of paint, I use acrylic paint. There's 2 types of paint that I've been using mostly. I've been using one called Deco Art Crafters Acrylic, and I've got these from the dollar store, and they're like, I guess about $1, probably more now. Everything's so expensive now. These ones dry with like a matte finish, and I use these quite a bit still. And then I also have these ones from Artist's Loft called their soft body acrylic paint. And this one dries with like a shine, like a bit of a shine to it. So that's kind of a nice, I always like how it kind of makes the paintings look a little fancier. And also this paint spreads a little bit better. This was a little bit pricier, but honestly, if you actually compare like how much paint's in here and how much is in here, it's actually probably pretty similar or even a better deal this way. And I got these from Michael's. But I'm sure there's like other like Hobby Lobbies or other like art stores wherever you're at that you could probably grab things from. And again, this is just convenience that I got it. And in terms of the actual colors, so if you have your basic primary colors, red, blue, yellow, and you have black and white, you can paint anything with those colors. Of course, if you have ones that are already pre-mixed, so if you have a pre-mixed green or pre-mixed brown, it'll make your life a little bit easier at times. I'll still talk through how to mix certain colors to get those other shades. But if you have your primaries, you're good to go. And again, I'm not using any specific primary. The ones I have available, like for these Flow acrylic, they're actually just named their actual color. Like there's no like, sunflower yellow. It's just yellow. So that's for those. And then for these ones, they do have random names because they do have different shades of these crafters acrylic, but the ones that I currently just have in my hand, so I'm probably going to be reaching to, are bright red, peacock blue, and daffodil yellow. But again, it's more just because they're convenient, not because it's like the preferred one. I'm not even sure, but we'll see how it all goes when we start painting. And I probably will dip into like a pre-mixed green, and I have a hunter green available, and probably a pre-mixed brown at times too, and I have a cinnamon brown that's just here, so I might use those ones as well. So we got our paint. Make sure you have paper towel as well. I use that quite a bit through my process, and I also have 2 containers of water just ready to go on the side since it is a water-based paint, and we want to make sure our brushes stay wet until you can properly wash them. And then I recommend having at least 3 different sizes of brushes. A nice large brush. This one's a size 10 and it's a flat, kind of rounded one. This one's a size 2, and this one is a size, it's technically a 4, but it becomes a really fine point. So as long as you have at least 3 sizes of brushes, again, you can have many sizes of brushes, totally fine. Something that will give you lots of coverage when we start, a medium and like a fine, then you're good to go. And I also have a palette where I pop all my paint on, but I do a lot of my blending right on my canvas, but I'll talk you through that as I go about doing that. I also did talk about water, but I don't use water all that much as I'm painting. I try not to water down my paint as I go. And I'll also speak to when I'm wiping my brush with paper towel or when I'm actually fully cleaning it in the water. So just in case that's helpful. Um, because I find that some people resort to the water very quickly. Like as soon as you're like put your brush down, they put it in the water right away. And I don't do that often because I find that affects the integrity of the paint and it throws me off. So I'll talk about that as well as we go. I will have the reference image available, excuse me, as we paint. I'll have it on the side so you can see both the reference image and the canvas as I'm going. What I would suggest though is you might want to grab a screenshot or download the image from the post that I put this today saying what the painting that we're going to do tonight is, because it might just be more convenient for you to have it like quickly available for you to reference, because sometimes it gets glary at times and whatnot. So just as a suggestion, not mandatory at all. Okay, and let's see who else is here. Oh wow, I love it. Hi, Geraldine from Ireland. Awesome. Welcome. And Linda, your first live painting video from Tasmania. That is so cool. Thanks for joining, Linda. And Almi. So this is the photo that we're going to be using as a reference. That's going to be what we're painting today. Hi, Karen from Toronto. Yay! Fellow Torontonian. I know I'm in Ajax, but I still say I'm like, I grew up in Toronto. Even though I've been here for 10 years, I'm still like, no, I'm Toronto, even though now I know it. I don't think I can say that anymore. And Rita's in Pasadena. Awesome. And Rita was saying that it's getting cut off a little bit. So I'm noticing in my metrics, I do have a couple little red bumps. So I guess my stream is not the strongest, which kind of sucks. I've tried in the past to like do troubleshooting as I'm going live, and it always just like crashes and then I have to like restart. So I'm not going to touch it, even though it might be annoying. So I'm just going to apologize in advance, and hopefully it kicks in and it works okay. Overall, it's saying that it's connected, but there definitely are little bumps. So I do apologize for that. Patricia, welcome. Your first video. Amazing. Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. And Sally, hello. Okay, great. So it is 6:12 my time, so we're gonna get started. I'm gonna just pop that on the side. I'm gonna just see what you can see. You're gonna not see me anymore for a bit, and then I'm gonna just move this. Move it more like that. I know there's some glare, and I will get rid of the glare momentarily. There we go. That light, yeah. Okay. There we go. So you can see the image, you can see this. The only issue is that it's still quite dark. Okay. I think if I move my light back, we're going to get a weird glare again on the iPad. So I'm going to try to paint like this. And if I get frustrated because my shadow is just getting in the way, then I might change things up. You know, I might have to put this here, even though I know there's a glare there. But we won't be painting that right now anyway. So we're going to have to do that, I think. Okay. Okay, let's get started. All right, so for this particular recreation, we're always going to start with whatever's furthest in the background, and we're going to build from there. So in this particular image, the landscape scene in the background is what's furthest away, specifically the sky. And then we're going to build from there. We're going to do the sky, we're going to get some trees going, and then we're going to get some land, and then put some more trees, and we're going to get some water, and we're going to build it up to the front. That's what we're going to be doing for this first round. Prior to us starting, you can, if you are the type of person who prefers to kind of sketch with like a pencil, you can go ahead and do that now to get an idea of where you want this to be. Or if you're more visual and you don't really need to like sketch it in that sense, you can just like map it out in your head, like kind of where you want your background to live. And what you need to do at this point is we need to make sure that we paint the background further, or larger, I should say, than what this frame is going to be. Because we want to make sure that we don't you know, do a little tiny like landscape image, and then it looks really weird because you didn't size that correctly. So you want to go a little bit bigger and think about that first. So if it's helpful, you can use a pencil just to give you a guide. And I might do that today just for the heck of it. So I'm gonna put in like there's like this kind of line here, which is like the roof, I suppose, or part of the ceiling of this building that we have. And it kind of goes, so this is like halfway, right? And that line kind of goes a little bit more than halfway, and it only goes like a little bit down. So it's gonna start kind of here. And again, this does not have to be perfect. This is just like a bit of a guide to go with. So I'm just gonna go like that. Ooh. Okay, so that's like the guide of that roof part. Okay. Now, what I'm noticing too is there's little gaps here between these, I don't even know what these things are called, these wood things, wood beams, I suppose. So I want to make sure when I'm painting my background, they're going to there, right? So behind these aspects. So those things are probably going to stick out like here. So we want our background to go until at least here, I think. So we have this part would live on this side here, and then those beams would like stick out. So I'm going to have my background in this area, and I'm not going to try to like paint a background and like not, you know, paint this one beam. That beam we're going to put in later. So pretend this beam doesn't exist right now. And same thing, I think, as well for this bottom part. I think I'm just going to bring everything down the rest of the way. So that's all I'm going to use right now just for a guide at the moment. Oh, good morning from Sydney. Hello. Hi, Karen. Hi, Sarah from Long Island. Amazing. Okay, so now in this image as well, there's a very dark kind of cloudy sky. And I do want to make mine brighter. So I might still have like a feeling of cloud, but I do want my sky to have like a nice like bright blue. So I'm going to change that in my image to give it more brighter blue sky. And maybe we might even throw in a little bit of like a sunset or something fun with the colors, because I can't help myself and I love to do that. So for the sky portion, again, it's not going to fill the whole area. It's only going to be about, what is this, like a third or so, like about a third of the way. So I want to make sure the sky is this third, and again, it comes down a little bit. So maybe we even want to do almost like half. So we're going to make sure the sky fits here, and then we can always pop trees on top of the sky. So again, just visually in our heads, just going to think about that right now. Okay, so now that we have this idea in our head, let's start putting some paint down. So I use quite a bit of white when I'm doing blending and doing skies. So I'm going to get some white, and I'm going to show you how much I'm putting on my palette as well, but I'm just going to pop it on there first. I am using the Flow acrylic paints right now to start. And then, do I want to use this one too? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll also use that peacock blue one, because it's a little darker than the Flow acrylic one. So I'll show you just kind of what I have. Big globberoonie of white and a little bit of the two different blues that I have from the two different brands. Okay. So how I'm going to start is I'm going to get my big, huge brush and get a whole globberoonie of white on there. And I'm going to just start putting white paint just on the canvas. So this is what I call like the boring part. Because right now anyone who tunes in is like, oh wow, that's exciting. She's painting white on white. But that's what I'm going to start with. And I'm going to put white paint. And what I'm doing, I'm just getting like a nice thin layer of white. And I'm going to work pretty quickly because I want to blend some of the blue eventually in here. And I need everything to stay wet for that process to happen. Now, it's a bit tricky because, I should say it's tricky. It's just like we need to make sure that we're moving a little bit quickly, but we want to make sure that it's a nice thin layer of paint. You don't want it to be like super thick. You want that big glob that you got initially, and you want it to spread into a nice thin layer. So I don't know if you can see, because again it's white, but it's very thin, but it's wet. just going to bring it about there for now. Okay, because again, I'm going to work a little quickly and I want to make sure that everything is still quite wet. And it can go, you know, where I put that line, it can actually go on top of it. It doesn't matter because we're going to put that image on top there, right? So now I'm going to grab some blue, a little dab, and I'm going to just put little dabs like that of blue. And what I'm going to do, instead of starting to paint, because my brush is really dirty, I'm going to just wipe off the excess. I go back and get a little bit more white, and now I start to go back in and get this blue on here. And I go back with white and start to blend that in. Oh, this is like a weird size. Usually I use like 11 by 14s. So I feel like this is like catching onto my step stool in a weird way. Anyways, it's all good. Okay, so I'm just going to continue getting some more white. I want to put a bit more blue here. So I want it to be a little darker on the top. You also want to get the sides of your canvas, if you have a canvas. Even if you have like a canvas board, it's all good, but you want to make sure the sides, so it kind of feels like it's continuing. Let's get some more white. Okay, and more white. And then we have a nice blend happening. And whenever I paint from any reference, but particularly when I paint from a photo, my goal isn't to make it look exactly like the photo. My goal is to kind of capture the vibe of it and to also kind of make it your own too. So that's what I'm looking for when I'm doing it. I don't try to make it hyper realistic. That's not my vibe. Okay, so we have like a really pretty blue. So Sally is asking, would it be helpful to wet the canvas first? So sometimes I do that. And when I was first starting, so some of my earlier tutorials, you'll see that I do wet the canvas first. However, I actually now prefer not to do that, and I use white paint instead. And the reason why is because the white paint, or whatever my base coat of paint is, it just makes it more opaque, and the water tends to just like water it down, and sometimes my paint doesn't look as nice. So I've kind of moved away from using water to start the canvas, to wet the canvas first. It's not wrong, and you can still get some great images and great blends happening, but I don't really like doing that anymore. So that's just like a preference of mine. Okay, so we have this pretty blue. Like I said, I did want to put like a little bit of like a yellow. Oh, and right now this is the first time I'm actually putting my brush in the water and like rinsing out my paintbrush because I want to get some of that blue out. Because I think I want to play a little bit and put like a bit of a bright yellow. That's what I'm going to do. So do I want to use this yellow? Yeah, I do. Okay, so I'm going to use the Crafters Acrylic Daffodil Yellow. I'm just going to a little, excuse you. There you go. Okay, so I just have a little bit of yellow on there. Okay, now down here is actually already quite dry. And the thing with yellow is I don't want it to become green. And if you mix your yellow and your blue, you're going to get a green. I want to have just like a little bit of like a hint of yellow, I think kind of in this area here. So I want to make sure everything's pretty dry before I go into that spot. So I'm going to just put a little hint of yellow here. And then I'm going to go back to my white. And my white is going to be what blends it into my blue sky. It's going to help me blend it in a little bit. kind of like that. So just have a little hint. Hi, Wendy. Oh, I'm glad you love this. That's great. Like I said, I've said it a few times. I'm excited and I'm a little nervous, but I'm actually more excited. I think it's gonna look really cool when it's done. Okay, so there we go. So I have like a little bit of yellow just to like kiss it as if like the sun was either probably just coming up or yeah, I think it's just coming up. That's my plan. And if you want, we can put a little bit of some of the clouds back in the sky if you want to play a little bit with that. And again, I'm not going to make them really stormy. I just want to give like some hints of clouds. And I'm going to get my medium brush. And again, you can see if you like this first before you do this. This is going to be a little bit different than what you see there. And when I do a cloud, I usually just run my brush along kind of like a line. And then I just do like little dabs. And I keep going back and getting some more white because everything's still kind of wet. And then I just get a little feeling of a little cloud happening there. Sometimes they can just be little streaks, or you just go up a little bit. Just dabbing it a little bit, just to get like a little, so it just feels like there's like little hints of clouds happening. I think we did it similarly last week as well. Cool. I don't know if I want to do more than that. I think I'm pretty happy with it like that. Let's bring it a little closer. It's very dark, that's the issue. I get some weird glares, but that's alright. So there's little hints of clouds happening in the sky, which is pretty and soft and nice. Okay, so now we're ready to start putting in some trees. Isn't that crazy? Right away on trees. So you can pick whichever brush you're most comfortable with. I'm probably going to do my medium brush, I think, to start. Um, and so with this, there's some really nice greens happening. There's a couple of different values of green. There's some darker ones happening here. And again, you can try to recreate it, or we can just get the vibe of it. So we don't need to make it exactly like this particular image, but it can get the same kind of feeling. So I'm going to start with my medium brush, and I'm going to mix some blue into my yellow to get some green, because now I do want green, where I know before I was like, heck no. I'm just going to make my own green. If you have a pre-mixed green too, you can use it. It's totally fine. Okay, so I have a bit of a green that I'm going to start off with, and then we might change things up. So I want to start putting in some tree lines happening, but they're kind of like, there's a lot of green. So I'm going to start, I think, just over here, and it kind of starts, I'm just going to create kind of like a messy line, because that's what I'm seeing here. It's kind of like a bit of a messy line that kind of goes down. Like that. Okay, I'm just going to go back in and just add a little bit more of this green into it. Doing the side of the canvas too. Okay, I need to mix more. Okay, so I'm just dabbing it just to get some. Okay. Some land happening, and then I need it to come on this side too. We need it to continue over, so let's keep bringing it over. It's a little bit too much blue, but that's okay. And it kind of comes back up on this side a little bit. So I think it's going to come up like here, and then it kind of comes down that way. Okay. That's pretty. It's a nice little skyline going on. It's a good question, Donna. Is anyone having trouble seeing the painting clearly? Maybe. You know what? I am going to put back this light, even though it is going to give a glare to the example image. I feel like at least it will be a bit brighter. And then maybe if I go this way, whoop, nope. Maybe like that though. There's still again one light that's shining on it. Maybe I don't need that one as much though. Maybe like that. Let's see if that's okay. Okay, we're not getting a glare, and maybe that will be a little bit better to see, hopefully. Perfect. Great. Awesome. Okay. So I have like my tree line, well, my hilly line. It doesn't really look like trees right as of yet, and that's totally fine. And now I want to get kind of another shade of green. So I want to either make it a little bit lighter. I think I'm just going to put more yellow into it. And then I want to now do another kind of layer. And now I'm using my brush kind of sideways just to try to get almost like a little tips. I can just hear my husband sneezing downstairs. I just heard like huge sneezes. It's just funny. Okay. I'll do a little bit on this side too. Just have another like little tree line. Okay. That looks a little bloppy. I don't know if I like that. So now I have a kind of a two layers happening with the green. Okie dokies. Now I need more yellow. I used all of it very fast. There we go. I'm going to get some of this hunter green out. And I think I'm going to get a little bit of black as well. Looks like I might want to play with some darker darker tones. Okay, so now that we have this little tree line happening, okay, cool. Um, let's see. So we have some water, some land. Maybe we want to start putting in some of the water. So let's do that. So I'm gonna get blue, but like with a little bit of black in it, just to make it a little darker. And then I'm just gonna start to put in right in this area. Oof. Where would I want this to go? Maybe out this way? Might come out this way, I think. I think I want to bring this water down. I'm using black and I'm using the blue. I'm just kind of going back and forth on it. There's some interesting like white highlights. I'm going to put that in afterwards. I'm going to bring that out. And where does it go? It kind of comes all the way to the side here, and there is some more like land and stuff that's happening. But we're going to bring this water all the way to the side. Okay. Oop. There's like land, and then there's some rocks or something at the bottom. So that's okay. So I'm just going back and forth with the blues that I have on there. And I just have a little bit of black, and then I've just been mixing it kind of back and forth in here. This brush is actually a little bit too small for my enjoyment. I should used my bigger brush for this, I think, but that's okay. Okay, I still want to get some more land happening on this side, but I think that will like place my water nicely, which is cool, and I can still add some more detail around there afterwards, but we'll leave that as is for now. All right, so I want to put in a little bit more land. It's another kind of layer of land on this side. So I'm gonna go with some green. I'm using the hunter green right now, I think is what I'm gonna use. We'll see how it comes out. I don't know actually. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. All right, and then I want to add some land. Add like another kind of layer here. I'm just going to bring this down and around. Do like another layer like that. Cool. Put a couple layers of that, and then I want to put a little bit more on this side too, I think. Although I guess it's going to be hidden. Maybe that's not worth it. I'm just going to put it maybe just like in the front here. Okay. All right. Then I go to my fine brush just to add a little bit of detail and just to clean up some of the edges and stuff that I have going on here. I want to use a kind of a really dark green, so I'm putting a little bit of black, like a little tiniest drop into my green, just to have like a really dark one. And I think I want to just kind of go in and just put a little bit of like messy little black lines just in this area here. It's like little shadows that you can't really see what's going on. Do a little bit here. Okay. Yeah, that's good. And then I do a little bit here, I think. It's like little touches, just add a little bit of like shadows in the background. Okay, I'm just gonna add a little bit here. And this kind of sea line, like a curve with the black. I think I'll do the same thing, like along this line. Ooh, make it a little smoother. There. Okay, and then I want to add a little bit of shadow in the water with the black. So I'm just gonna go and put a little bit of lines. And the same thing on this side too. And back here. Okay, I think I'm good with that for now. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. You can kind of see it a little closer. I know again it's still really dark. But what we have essentially is we have 3 layers of green, 3 different shades just to give you an idea of perspective. And then I just use the brush to give it the feeling of like it being a lot of different things in the background to make it look full and dense. We did the blue water, which is very dark blue, and there's different variations of it. And then I just put in some black along the coastline. And I put a little bit of little black little lines in some of the indents just to make it look a little bit denser, and then also in the back there for this back. Thin lines to kind of make it feel like some of the branches and stuff are there. I'm not going to go into that too much because again, I don't want to go that far into it. I think I'm going to leave it very similarly, and I want to add a little bit of some of the green that's sticking out. But for now, or from here, I'm going to jump down and get some of the green that's living below here that we're not going to see too much of because we're going to have that big beam in the way. But I still want to have a base of it that's living in this area. So that's going to be my next spot. So let's continue on and do some more foreground before we put in some of the branches that are sticking out on the sides and some of the other ones that are coming out from there. All right, green, green, green. So let's mix some more because I am out of the color I mixed already. So I'm just going to mix some more right now with the blue and the yellow that I have. Or if, again, if you've pre-mixed, you're good to go. So I'm just going to put green down here. And get the sides. So I just want to get a base on here first, and then I'm going to, we can put in some little more details. I do need to use some more. I'm going to use my pre-mixed green because I'm using a lot more green than I thought of, and me always consistently mixing it's taking a bit of time. I'm just going to use this for speedy sake. It's almost the same. Almost the same color. I'm just going to bring this to the water line. And most of this is going to be covered anyways, but just for probably not needed to do the whole thing. So then we're going to have that beam there. So I think I might just leave it kind of messy like that. But okay, and I also want to put in a bit more green that comes from the side here. Some land that's living in this water area connects to everything in front of us here. Okay, cool. We can leave that like that, I think should be okay. Cool. Pretty, pretty and green and land and beautiful. Oh, Takona, thank you so much. I love that you love the image. That's fantastic. Oh, and thank you, Diane, for answering. I appreciate that about the replay. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. So, now what I want to do is I want to put in a couple of like the trees that are in the background that we can kind of see a bit clearer. They're kind of cute looking. So I think I'm gonna go. I don't know. I'm gonna do black for this, just for me to see where that trunk's gonna land. So I have a tree that's gonna be like here, like that. That's the, and then it has a few little branches that are coming upwards. I'm putting this in so it can give me a bit of a guide. So when I do all the leaves, then I'll know where to place them. Okay, so that's my tree guide. Okay, and then I want this yellow, no, I want my tree green to be lighter, so I'm just putting some yellow into my green to get it lighter. Okay, that works, I think. And then with this tree, I'm going to just dab little bits. Going back often because I'm finding that this paint is very thick, and so it isn't spreading very smoothly. And the paint that I'm referring to is the Crafters acrylic. The yellow's a little bit interesting. Challenging, I should say. So I'm putting them on the branches, and I'm also putting them a few, because sometimes branches stick forward and you can't see it. They're not just going to be like a tree and then a branch, and then leaves. Like they also stick where you can't really like see them because they might be coming out towards you. So I'm just going to do that as well and put a few. And I'm kind of going with like the shape of my brush to kind of give me the stamping vibe. And now I'm going to go in with like a darker green, and I'm just going to touch some areas with the darker green just to make it a little bit shadows in some spots here. Okay, I'm going to go back to the yellow and then just go back over in a third time and just add a little bit more, like 3 little layers of color, like a green or a lighter green, darker green, and then I'm going back with like some yellow just to mess it all up and make it look kind of cool. Okay, so that's that little tree guy that lives right there. No worries, David. No, I totally get it. It's hard to see the image on the side, so yeah, definitely it's hard to get all the intricacies the way this is set up. So definitely just grab the picture from the post from earlier today or from Saturday, and that'd be a lot easier to follow. Okay, and then I think I want to do like another one. It looks like there's another kind of tree or something living on the side. I don't know if I want to do that right now though. I'm not too sure. I think I might just leave it with the one for now. Yeah. And then I think I want to put, I do want some tree coming out of the side here, but I think I'm going to do that after I have, because it's not going to impact the stuff I'm putting in the foreground. At least it doesn't look like it. Just thinking about that right now. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to leave it like that. And I think now let's start working on this building structure that we have going on. And then we might add some more elements in the background depending on where things sit. Yes, sounds good. Okay, so I know it's so pretty the way it is. It's like, ooh, I always like those. There's some really lovely photos and images of like from like a train window. So you have like the whole like train on the outside and you get to see the view from, you know, what's happening. And I think those are so lovely. So this is kind of giving me that vibe. Like it's hard to see some of these elements, I guess how it's like connected. Oh, I'm so, so nervous to do this. Okay. We're not going to worry about it. We're just going to look at shape and color. We're going to get it done. We're going to do it well. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. So we are going to be using, black's going to be a pretty great friend of ours. And we're going to need some brown. So if you need to make your own brown, you'll need to use equal parts of blue, red, and yellow, and then you'll get a brown. The thing is, it can, depending on the blue, red, and yellow you use, sometimes they already have different tints to them, and that can change the way it comes out. Sometimes it comes out a bit more gray than you might want it. So that's the only thing about mixing your own colors. Depending on what we have available, it can be a little annoying, a little challenging. Okay, but we are going to start to place our structure. So what I see first is this behind here, and that to me is a very dark, very almost black, basically, line that comes, let's see, because those things are going to stick out to about here or so, right? Those little things. So I'm going to move them over a little bit. Maybe I want more of my pretty picture to be here. Yes, so I'm going to put in this dark space is what I'm going to do first. I'm just going to call it a dark space. So I'm going to use mostly black. I'm going to use some brown. I want it to be, I don't want it to be like super, super black. And I'm putting a little bit of white in it too, just because I want it to have a, I don't want it to be like, I don't want it to be black. I want it to have a bit, not to be as dark. Like almost black, but not there. So I'm going to start to fill in this area here. And where is this going? This is going until about like here, more or less. I'm going to switch to my big brush because this coverage is driving me mad. The brush is just not cutting it for me. And I want to get the tops too. Okay. Now I'm just going to get my fine brush just so I can. I think I want to use a ruler. Okay. Okay. I did not use a ruler, but I'm happy enough with that. Okay, I want to just clean this up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to my medium-sized brush just so I can fill in the rest of it without as much worry. Okay. There we go. So we have the top part of our border in place. It's kind of neat. I'm digging it. Okay. And then we want to start to, oh man, okay, position some of these things that are happening here. Okay. So visually, I have a curve here. Is that where it's at? Let me see. So halfway is like here. Yeah, that makes sense. So we're gonna have like one curve here. 1, 2, 3. Yes. And then we have that pretty big ridge that comes along here. Like that. Okay, sounds good. I just needed to, like, in my head, kind of decide where all that was gonna go. Okay, so let's start to build those out. So this, I'm gonna go a bit smaller than where I wanna go, and then I can make it more specific. I'm just gonna do like some curves. Okay, so that's one curve. Okay, I think I need to go back to my thin brush just to ensure that I'm getting a good line. Hmm. Okay, so that's gonna be that first curve. It's not, definitely not perfect, but it's all right. It's gonna work. The next one is going to come pretty straight down, so I'm gonna put another one like that. And there is a gap between these, so try to keep that gap. Eee. Not bad, not bad. Just needs to be a little. Okay. All right, all right. I got some curves going on. Place them. Okay. I have two curves happening. Two curves. I'm sticking out a little bit. Not a construction builder, so you know. My log cabin might be a little faulty, just saying. Maybe yours is better built. And by then we start getting some background, some of that. Okay. So we're getting the feel of these as we start filling them in. I'm going to use my medium-sized brush to get more coverage. Okay. And we can add more detail afterwards. Okay. And then this kind of goes, it's interesting. So it kind of goes like this, and then it kind of goes like this one. Right? Like it kind of goes in and out. There's like a bit of a peak there. Okay. There seems to be another circular spot here. That's probably a little bit dark here. Connects with the rest of that. And then that one too, actually. I should watch that as well. That makes a curve there too. Okay, and then let's paint the top as well. This one also has a, see the curve there, but we're not going to worry about that too much just yet. And then this one also kind of curves. Okay. Knowing that we're going to have some kind of picture jug thing that's going to live in that area. Okay. And then we have, what do we have? Down here, kind of comes like this, and it's lighter. I'm throwing in some white just to know that it's different. In my dirty brush already. Okay. Then we have another one here. Where does that go? That goes like, yeah, that goes like that. Okay. And then it's like darker in here. I'm just trying to place in where these things are, not really worrying too much about all of it, how it looks, but just try to get some of the coloring in. Though, black and white are so tricky with each other, so we gotta just watch for that a bit. So, okay. Trying to get some of it in, and then we have it's a little bit dark as well in between. Sorry, I'm like right in the camera. And then this is like a beam that kind of goes up, and then there's other ones that come this way. So this kind of goes upwards. So that's all the way up-ish, and there's like another knot or something that's living here. I'm just getting some white just to distinguish that a little bit. I'm not even seeing what the side looks like, but I'm getting paint on there regardless. Okay, and then we have more lines. So black is living here, the top here, and like a little bit of a triangle. Because what I'm seeing is, and then there's these kind of come on a little bit of an angle. At least the top one does. Okay. too black and white. I don't like that. Putting a little bit more brown in there. It's a big glob there. That's weird. Okay. Oh, I feel like it's just not going on very smooth and it's making me really annoyed. Okay, let me just get some more paint. Both brown and black. And probably some white. Whoa. White paint's crazy. Okay. All right, let's just fill in this area and then we'll figure it out and play with it more afterwards. Okay. Get paint in here. Okay, now that I got paint in there, let me just okay, a little bursts of it, and then now let's define these knots a little bit differently. Okay, so I'm just going around the side. I'm giving it a bit of a, and then putting a little bit of black on top, and a little bit on the bottom, and then also around here, like that. Okay, same with this one, and then around, and then on top. A little bit darker there, and then here. Okay, and then just to like give it a bit of shape. Okay, now we need to add some more brown into it because it's very dark. So let's put a few little lines of brown on top of this. And then a little bit here, a bit curved. Same in here. A little bit of brown curvy lines. And then we're just going to go, I think, just straight lines along. They're kind of like messy because the grains are messy. Okay, just to get that feeling of it. Okay, so we have a little bit happening there. Okay, and then here we need to fix because it's still not looking where we need it to go, and we still need to do more here. Okay, so let's just get my finer brush. This is the part that I'm not like a super fan of. I really love doing the landscapes, and all the specific and making things look really structured is not my enjoyment level. But that's how we get better, right? We try to like challenge ourselves and we try to change things up and see what we can do. So I'm going with a little bit of white to add a little bit of like highlight to some of these and to continue with this like wood grain, which I think I'm going to delve down this white with a little bit of brown afterwards, but I still need to get it a little bit brighter because it's so dark. Just dip my fingers into the paint, why not? Okay. And then I know up here too we have a little bit of just a little kiss of it. All right, and then all of this does not look good yet, so we're gonna have to fix all of that up and put some lines and figure that stuff out. So this guy is a bit curved as well. So we have a kind of some circular kind of vibe there. This has some straight we're doing grains of wood. It's going down, but there's still some curves into it. There we go. Now we're going to get some brown. No, I need to clean off my brush first. Too much white. Okay, and then let's get some like brown and add it in here. Okay, same thing in here. Let's put a little bit of brown in here in this curvy area. Okay. Now, I know it's mostly white in here, but I'm still going to put some brown just to put little lines. And now, same with here. Okay, we're gonna put like little lines going downwards. I think I went a little bit too curved. Okay, I'm gonna go back to white, I think. And then do the same thing and just putting a few little lines in. So remember, try not to think of the way it's supposed to be and try just to get the vibe of it. Because if I think about this as what I think a log cabin should look like, I'm not happy with it. But if I think of this as I'm trying to capture some of that light area, putting some white lines in there, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I'm getting that. I'm getting some like vertical, or sorry, horizontal, I should say. Lines happening. So it's getting a little better. It has that, starting to feel like it. Wood vibes. Just gonna get some black and get some black lines in here. So the black, dark areas are up like in this area where they kind of meet. There's not so many in the middle, so I'm gonna just try to keep these more or like a little bit, but like that maybe. And then again, we'll have it like here. some more lines in between where the beams kind of meet. And there's more happening up here. It's a bit darker at the top here. Okay, and then again, ooh, that's a lot of paint on that brush. Okay. That's what I have so far. Oh, David, you said ugh. I didn't notice that until now. I'm sorry. That's really frustrating. It's like that's in the way. What is that? Oh, that's just the jug. That's funny. I saw this jug from the computer image, kind of like when I was looking over it, and to me it just looked like a light bulb. I was like, oh no, but it wasn't. It was just the image. Anyways, okay, okay, there we go. So, where do we go from here? There's definitely gonna, I have to still fill in this area here for sure, and I think I probably need to extend that guy out more realistically, because I do think that needs to come out more. I'll split this maybe to a little bit. Yeah, not using that brush, that's silly. Okay. Okay, so let's bring this beam out more. Bring it here. See, I feel like that's not the right size. Should have made them a little bigger, I guess. That's okay. Okay, and let's just bring, there's still more. I'll come all the way down. So, okay, I think I want to start putting in where that table is, and I can see where else I need to fill in the background. I'll have to touch that up again after. Okay, so now this beam is interesting because it's gonna kind of go like this. It's a bit smaller here and it kind of comes out and you can see more of it that way. So it's gonna be a little bit interesting in terms of perspective, how we're gonna do this. Um, but we're gonna do this and it's gonna look really great. So how are we gonna do this? We are going to think about whatever color we want to use. I'm thinking of like a gray or like a light gray. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of black into my white. I mean, I'm okay with almost white too, to be honest. And then I want to kind of put a line where my like center of it's going to be. So I think it's going to live like here, like that. That's going to be where it is going to be. So now from here, I'm going to build it out. Make it a little fatter as I go. Ooh, okay. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit lower here than it is up there. So I think we got that going. Okay. It's going to go further than that, though. It's going to go like that. About. Okay. And then it's going to, no, I need to use my thin brush. Okay. So then here, it's going to come, okay, so we want this to come straight down first. Like that. Okay. And then we're going to bring it how far out? It kind of comes on a slight angle like this. And then that angle is going to replicate under here like that-ish. And then I'm gonna bring a line straight-ish down. And then I'm just gonna fill this in. Okay, that is not very straight, but maybe we fix it with green. No, that's not happening. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, we could fix it with green. Not easily, but we will just erase it with the background color. Let me just get a different brush. There we go, that's better. That works. The mistake's still a little bit noticeable, but that's okay. Okay, now let's look at the top here. So this top is going to come out like that. Now it's just going to be a different color on the top here, a lighter color. So I'm going with like a white, but my brush is still dirty with like the gray, so it kind of comes out a very light gray. I'm just going to bring it over this big old beam. And where does it go to? So it kind of comes out, but it's very thin down here. Perspective is so annoying sometimes. Let's just get them to connect in some way. And we still have to put like all the stuff on top of the table anyways. So, come on. It's definitely crooked, but that's okay. Perfectly imperfect. Awesome. Okay. We got a ledge of some sort. It's a very rustic piece of wood. Has a lot of imperfections going on. And as I'm looking, I definitely think like I feel like these should have been a little bit wider. Like maybe that one should have been like that, and that one should have been like that, and that one should have been like that. Because it's like I don't know. I think I have to put in like another thing behind here just so I don't know. Maybe I can get away with just putting that picture right there. You know what? I'm going to try that and try to make this like fatter picture that's going to live there. That's going to cover that up. That's going to be my plan. Yes. That is my art plan. Art plan. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. My canvas is also very wonky right here. It like something sharp I think kind of hit it and it pulled the canvas weirdly. So I definitely have some interesting additional aspects that I'm working with here. How are you all doing? You guys doing okay? Is the log cabin driving you mad? Are you having fun? Let me know how you're feeling about it. Okay, as we go from there, now we have some other things that we need to put in as structure before we get into some other perhaps more enjoyable parts. So we have this beam that lives here and it goes all the way down behind this structure here. And that's kind of like a kind of grayish, like a little brown tint to it. So I'm going to stick with this gray kind of vibe. And again, I'm going to go kind of like straight line down where I kind of want the main part of this to live. So this guy's going to live right here, more or less. Just going to mess it up, I think, and then I'll just fix it up after, I think. It's going to end up going on top of it, but that's all right. Okay, so now let's thicken him up a little bit. Okay. I don't know if I want to make it much thicker than that, to be honest. I don't know. I should, though. I should make it a little thicker. Okay, and then this side's gonna have to be a little darker. Okay, I think that's all right. Okay, and then we needed to continue below here. And again, we're gonna have to fix up the beam that's in front of it because it kind of doesn't make sense right now. All right, let's fix that up. So what is happening? It's like there's no paint on my brush, but I just touched the paint. Okay, there we go. I just want to put a little bit of black in here. And then this here, so there'll be a little bit down here. Okay, and then I want to, no, we want to get something a little, no, I should probably do that first actually. Okay, so then this side does have a little bit of black on this side. It's definitely darker. Just putting some little lines with my thin brush. Okay. This is definitely like crooked. Kathy, you're so funny. Kathy says she knows why I teach and she doesn't. Sometimes I wonder why. I'm like, I don't know why I should be teaching either. Because it is a little challenging. Okay, so I'm just going over with my medium brush now because the medium brush lets me blend some of those little lines that I made with my thin brush really nicely. Actually, I want to continue that like that. Yes. Yes, like that. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Okay, and then I want to go back to my lighter, like my white, and I want to add a bit more of a highlight on this side. I'm still using my medium brush. And every time I do that, it obviously grabs some of the other darker paint that I have. So you want to keep it lighter, you got to keep going back and getting some more white. And then I want to do the same down here. Like that, just to make it look similar. And then now we're going to clean up the top of our table because they should really not be weirdly blended into each other because that does not make any sense. There we go. I just put a little bit of white paint and just created the edge, and now it's like behind it, which is a lot more logical. Awesome. And if you want, we can put like, there's like some like little knots and stuff. Like I see like a little knot over here. So you can kind of like make a little like That look kind of neat. Maybe you can make another one maybe like here. Just make like a little kind of circle-y thing on the wood. And sometimes when it's like that, it kind of has like little lines around it. Cool. Just want to soften it a little bit. This is a little much. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Awesome. So that I like. That looks neat. I feel like it's still a little off, but I'm not going to stress about it. We're just going to keep going and we're going to have fun and it's all good. Okay. So there's a few things. Right now, this beam is floating in the air, which is cool. Maybe it's a ghost table, you know, magical Hogwarts kind of table going on. I don't know. We'll see. But there are some like beams and things that are holding it in place. So let's put some of that in. Okay. So what do we have? I think from what I see it being like there's something like, I'm just going to go like this with like a darker gray. And then it kind of comes down like here. It's a little darker, and then it's a little darker like here. And then it looks like there's like another bit like here. Not worrying too much about anything about it. I'm just putting in kind of a bit of the color that I see. And just it gives it a bit of stability because there's something that lives here that is holding up our bench. And I don't really understand the pieces, but that's alright. We're not going to stress about that. Just going to put in the color that we need here. Cool. I think that's all I'm going to do like that. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to look like a weird kind of gray element that holds it all together. And then on this side, we're going to do the same kind of sort of dealio. So what do we got? So about like here-ish, it comes down. Kind of get a bit more black. And then it's going to go underneath it like that. And then come down. And then come down like this. Perfecto. And then we're just going to fill in this area. Okay, and then this part kind of is like an X. I can kind of see it, like it kind of goes down like this. About, yeah. And then cool, and then let's get a bit more black. Maybe a bit more black. Darken this area here. Okay. And it looks like it's being held in some particular way, which is cool. And then I'm just going to put a bit of a line. Actually, there really isn't a line like that. A little bit too light. It's actually quite dark, actually. So let's add a little bit more to make this a little darker. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's go back to the brush. Okay. Yeah, it's a little better. Okay, that's better. That's darker. That's kind of more the way it's supposed to be. And then up here it is a little bit darker too. I'm just going to add a little touch of it before we get our things on the table. Okay. I think I'm happy with it. I say yes, I am happy with it. All right. And now what are we going to do? Now we want to put in those, like that, I don't know, bowl and pitcher. That's what we're going to do next. So with my detailed brush that I have more control over, I want to figure out where this pitcher is going to live and just get the shape going. So I want it to go in this white spot, essentially. So it might be a little bit bigger than normal, or what I would necessarily want it, because I want the base then to be kind of like that. So I'm going to just get what I want covered, and then I can decide on how I want this shape to live. Okay, so I think it's going to be kind of like, it's going to be very wonky looking. Okay, so this is going to come a little bit up more. I really dislike painting things that are like still life. I'm so nervous about this. Okay, so I'm going to bring the lip like this. Okay, it's going to come down and loop like kind of like this. Sure, yeah, that's perfect. Exactly how I wanted it to be. Okay, cool. And then we're gonna fill it in. When you get the shape that you're happy with, fill it in. want to get a nice full base in. And then we can give it more shape and do whatever else you want to do with it once we have it. Okay. Sure, that works. And this guy needs a handle, and the handle is not white, but I am going to paint it in white for now, and then maybe I'll go over it in a different color after. I don't know. We will cross that bridge when we get there. And this handle goes loopy up and down. Okay, and I just want to thicken it up a little smidgen. Just a smidgen. Okay, so we have where that picture lives. It's definitely a lot fatter. It kind of looks like a milk pitcher when you like froth milk, only with a really fancy handle. Which again makes sense. It goes back to my barista roots, so maybe that's what I'm channeling. And then we're gonna put this basin that lives here. So it goes here. Also white. Big. And then it comes out. Okay, and then okay. Okay. And then it's a little bit darker on the inside. So I just got a little bit of gray just to already have it a little darker. Okay, and then I need more black already because I've already used all my black. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what are we gonna do with this black? Well, there is a nice black line around the basin like that, and then it's quite dark in here, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of black living in there. Okay, and then there's also a line here, and it goes like that. Maybe it goes all the way across the bottom now that I kind of look at it over there. It curves even a little bit. This place looks kind of funky. But that's okay. Okay. We get more white. We need to get more white happening. Okay, so we need to make this a little bit lighter here on this side. And then we do need this to be filled in a little bit more. Shouldn't be able to see through it and see the grass on the other side. That seems a little bit weird. This is supposed to be like a solid solid item. Okay, and then I'm noticing there's a little bit of gray just in like this corner. So I'm just going to dirty up the white just a little bit. back in here after. Keep it more white on that side. Okay, I just want to mess up that line. It was just a little bit too straight and I don't like that. Okay, so there's that basin thing going on. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back to this jug and I want to just go over, make it a bit more, again, this one has to be a bit more opaque as well, because I can see behind it a little bit too much. Okay, this is a little dirty. And once you get it to the opacity that you like, then we can add a little bit of the shadowing and stuff like we did with the basin beside it. Okay, and then, all right, and then now we need to mess it up a bit and put a little bit of darkness in it. Okay, so I'm gonna get some of the black. There is a shadow. Where is my shadow? Shadow here. Like this. Just gonna put it kind of like that, and then I'm just gonna add a little bit of line like that. And then I'm going to add like a line like this, I think, but I don't want it that dark black. I'm just going to go over it again with white just to soften it a little bit. Okay, and then I just want to add a little bit more white. Okay, and okay. Do I like that? Yes and no. Okay, I am gonna just make this handle a little bit darker, just put a little bit of black on it. And I just want to add a little line like that, I think. And then a little bit more on this side here. And I just want to add a little bit like a shadow from this basin here and that guy there. Okay, so pretty much complete. I think the last thing that I may want to do is just put in maybe like we may want to add a few of these little like branches that are kind of sticking out, or maybe not. Maybe we just want to leave it as is. I'm not sure. Not sure if I'm feeling that I want to add those branches in or not at the moment. I'm not exactly sure. Hmm. I know I want to do something about this land that's living here. I don't really like the way that looks just yet. So I am going to add a little bit of just like darkness, a little bit more. I definitely want to put a little bit of white like lines in the water. Okay, so I have a little bit of white lines in the water. Some of it, I think those are a little too thick, actually. Some of those. Just gonna get rid of them a little bit if I can. Okay, that's a little better. That was a little bit too much. Okay. I think I'm kind of digging it the way it is, and I don't know if I want to add the branches here, to be honest. I think I want to leave it. I think I want to leave it. I think I feel pretty good about it so far. Definitely here looks a little bit funky still because I didn't really put any lines in. So I'm going to do that as well. Let's do that and let's put in some of the kind of the same kind of wood grains that are living on the other pieces of that. Okay, and then there's definitely some white that's in this area here and here. This kind of gives the same continuity, but I'm going to go and do a little bit of black too. Once we have all those lighter lines. And then there's some black that's in here, that area. And there's some that separate. Ooh, there's a lot of big clump on that. We don't want the big clump happening. Okay. Okay. There. So at least it's now just more continuous. No, continuous. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. Yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'm gonna leave it as such. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. All right. So let's look back to me for a wee bit. Okie dokie. There we go. All right. So here we go. Here is my version of A Moment in Time. It's a paint from photo from this beautiful photograph by Michael Lyons. And I definitely did a few different things. Like I made the sky a lot brighter and I made it look almost like a sunset or something's going to happen in there. So I really like that about it. And I didn't add some of the trees that you can see in the background. I kept it a bit more simple, but I really like it like this. I don't think I want to add any more to it. And it did turn out better than I thought. I was definitely, I mean, this isn't like, definitely was like a painterly version. So I got like the vibe of it and I'm happy with that. Um, but yeah, so I hope you all who painted with me enjoy that. I want to see your paintings, so please snap a picture and send it and share it because I love to see that. Don't stress if you don't think it's the best. It's okay. There's always good elements in everything, especially if you just had fun and enjoyed yourself. And every time we do it, we get better. And even when, like, I've been painting for a long time, and there's still things that I really dislike about things and things that I really like about it. Um, that's totally normal, so don't feel weird about that. But thank you all for joining me and everyone who stuck around. This was definitely a challenge. And next week again, I'll have another painting for you on Thursday, and we'll be painting all together again. All right. Have a fantastic rest of your night or day and rest of your week, and I'll see you all next week live. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.